Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucy and in today's video I am telling you how to start a BookTube channel in 2023. So before you watch this video, I would recommend watching my original video titled How to Start a BookTube Channel. This will literally give you all of the basics. What this video aims to do is actually kind of be a sequel to that video and tell you what you need to know from 2023 onwards. Obviously, YouTube is constantly improving its features, rolling out kind of new features entirely, like shorts. So there's always more to be said in terms of how to start a BookTube channel, how to grow and how to succeed. So I hope this video is helpful in telling you how to do so. So just like my original video, which I will be leaving linked down below, and do check it out because I really would recommend it. It's helped so many people and I'm so honored that I've kind of helped people start BookTube channels and given them top tips. But this video will be kind of divided into several different tips. So let's just get going because I have a lot to say. So as I said, my first tip is really to watch my original video, How to Start a BookTube Channel, for the basics. This will cover equipment that you may need, key video ideas, little tips and tricks in terms of titles and thumbnails and everything like that. So I really would recommend watching that first. But moving on, in terms of like an up level to that, or kind of new information that you may not have heard before, this video is perfect. So my first tip is for all of you guys starting out. You have set up your YouTube channel, what do you do next? So a key takeaway here is to start making content that you know will get a lot of clicks first. So how do you know what content gets a lot of clicks? Well, it's usually the stuff that you see on BookTube a lot. So book hauls, like you usually can get a lot of clicks with a big book haul. The bigger the stack, the better. Like I know that is kind of there's a lot of issues around book hauls, you know, consumerist and everything like that. However, I recommend like stacking up books for a couple of months and then doing a book haul. So what I do is quarterly book hauls. That way I know that I'm not buying loads of books a month, but equally I know that I can show off a big stack of books that I've just bought or acquired. And that is one easy way to get some clicks on BookTube, is do some book hauls. I mean, they still get clicks, they still get views, and I think that's a real testament by what people are after. People want to know what people are buying and what people's tastes are. So that is a key one to try as well. Book recommendations do super well as well, especially in a niche, which I'll go on to in a minute, that you're aligned with. So for me, you know, you guys love my fantasy romance book recommendations, and because I can tell you love them so much, and because people comment on them and watch them and kind of recommend them and share them, I know that this is something my audience wants to watch, you know? I know that this is a particular strength for me, you know? People really like my fantasy romance recommendations. So think about what your favorite genres are, think about what you're passionate about, and go from there in terms of filming recommendations videos, because I think themed recommendations videos go down such a storm. They are also really searchable. So when people are searching Google, whatever search engine, they're just typing, you know, fantasy book recommendations. Provided fantasy book recommendations is probably, in terms of like views and standing out in that search term, you know, there's going to be a lot of volume and a lot of traffic in terms of fantasy book recommendations. How can you go into more granular detail here? Maybe it is, you know, a certain trope like enemies to lovers fantasy book recommendations. Maybe it is, you know, high fantasy book recommendations, epic fantasy book recommendations, book recommendations for those who love Sarah J Maas, etc. It goes on and on. But I think the key thing with recommendations here is to think about niching down in terms of those recommendations, as there's a lot less other competition there in terms of other people making the same types of videos, and your video is likely to get clicked on then. But as a segue, I think a key thing to remember here is takeaways. What is your video giving to the viewer? That is always a key thing with making videos, is you want to make sure that they're either educational, they're either entertaining, they're either giving your viewer like a feeling of something, whether that's escapism or coziness or taking them to a new place. Or it's giving them like something solid, like a how to do this, how to make your bookshelves look pretty, how to spring clean your bookshelves for spring, something like that. I think remember that when you're planning your content, and that will take you a long way. Okay, so my next tip is something that isn't in my original video because it didn't exist then, and that is mixing up shorts and videos. So for so long I was so resistant to shorts. I was like, why are they bringing in short form content on YouTube? It doesn't make sense to me. Of course, all of these entertainment channels, you know, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, they're always trying to outperform the other, and they're always trying to kind of copy each other and bring in that same type of, you know, like format, so that people are going to choose that platform over another platform. So of course YouTube brought in shorts. I was resistant for a long time, but then I started making some shorts and I was like, okay, wow, they really get the views. You can now monetize shorts, which is great. They don't bring in a lot of money, but like they bring in some. You can monetize them, which is great. And also they really appeal to new viewers, because YouTube is trying to push this new format, this new kind of initiative they have. They are more likely to get pushed out. They are more likely to appear on new people's feeds. So I think when you're starting out on BookTube, or maybe you've started a year ago or 6 months ago and your channel just isn't growing, try mixing up long form content with short form content and produce some shorts. It can be exactly the same type of content, so recommendations videos, hauls, whatever it is. I am using my shorts videos to kind of like go beyond my usual content, so I'm using it as like an experiment in a way. I put more lifestyle content on my shorts and more kind of funny, jokey videos on shorts, where obviously I wouldn't make a whole YouTube video about that topic, for example. But this leads me very nicely into my next tip, which is to cross-post across your social platforms. So, I just mentioned, you should be producing shorts on YouTube alongside your existing videos. That's a lot of effort, right? To create not only YouTube videos and sit and film YouTube videos, but also to then film shorts, and then film reels, and then film TikToks and everything else. Well, for your short form content, cross-post. Remove the watermark if you've been posting it on TikTok first. Remove that watermark, because that is going to really mess up your kind of engagement rate and the video being pushed out on reels or on shorts. There are easy ways to remove the watermark. Just Google remove TikTok watermark and you can literally, you know, put that video wherever you want. One thing to note about YouTube shorts that has kind of like screwed me up a bit in the past is that shorts are capped at 1 minute long, I believe, and they haven't expanded into longer form shorts. So a lot of my TikTok videos at the minute, or a few of the ones that have done really well, have been going beyond 1 minute, and so I couldn't cross-post those to YouTube. So bear this in mind when you are cross-posting, when you're creating content for multiple different platforms. Think about what is likely to win across all platforms. So really short recommendations will be a hit across Reels, TikTok, and Shorts, no doubt about it. Like, if you can keep it under a minute, something quite snappy, and you know, you can literally spend, what, 15 minutes filming one video, editing it, and then putting it on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and like, you're helping all of your platforms there. And I think in terms of how this helps grow your YouTube channel, you know, if you build an audience on TikTok, if you build an audience on Instagram, you can give a call to action towards YouTube. You're then getting more eyes on your channel. And the thing that YouTube loves is when people are brought to the platform and you've brought them to the platform. So I think, like, bear that in mind. Like, how can you get new eyes on your channel? How can you get new eyes on your content? You've got to just be on all the platforms now. I think, like, for so long, the advice always was, oh, pick one social media platform and do it well. But actually, I don't really think that's the case anymore. I think you need to be everywhere, and you need to be cross-posting, and you need to be thinking, how can I broaden my audience and grow my audience on each of these platforms? And that is so important, but there is an easy way to do that, and that is just to film one video and post it across everything. I need a coffee break after all of those tips. Okay, caffeinated, all good. So my next tip, and I've said this before, this might be a little bit of a repeat from my how to start a BookTube channel video, but it is to comment and watch other creators. So in terms of how I think this will help you grow your channel, or if you're about to set up a channel, how it will help you in terms of planning how to do so, look what works for other creators. If you have a favorite creator and you're like, okay, I love their videos when they do this type of thing. I love their reading vlogs about this type of thing. Then watch that content. Don't forget to comment on every video you watch, because it really does bring eyes to your channel. If you're that person who's always commenting and like showing your support, like that is absolutely amazing. But as a kind of side tip, you know, watch these channels and see what does well for other people. Analyze their videos. Like, do they have a really catchy title? Is that what kind of drew you to that channel in the first place? Are their thumbnails like standing out? Why are they standing out? Are they using big colors? Are they using big text? Are they kind of editing their thumbnails in a particular way that is very eye-catching? Then look at the content itself. What is hooking you? What is it about their intro that is really appealing? What is hooking you in the first 30 seconds? You need to like watch content and see how popular and creators who are seeing huge success are actually creating that success. And I think the only way you can do that is by absorbing their content and analyzing that. So definitely take notes, get your notebook out and just start analyzing the content you're watching, because I think you can learn from other people, and not in a way that's copying, but it's almost like getting tips from people who have done it well. Now, this is something that I am working on this year, and this is finding your content pillars. So this touches a little bit on what I said in my other video in terms of finding your niche, but it kind of expands on that in terms of a really simple way to always have video ideas, really. So what I did at the start of the year is I took a fresh look at my channel and I said, okay, what videos really do well for me? What do I enjoy creating? Like, what books do I enjoy reading, you know? And those help form my content pillars. So as I mentioned in my, I think it was my 2023 goals video, which you're welcome to watch, I'll leave that link down below as well. But I mentioned that my 3 content pillars this year would be historical fiction. People love my historical fiction videos and I love making them. I'm passionate about this genre. I love history. It just makes sense, you know, and I have made a lot of content on historical fiction. Fantasy, because I think this spans many different genres. Fantasy romance obviously is a huge content pillar of mine, and that's kind of like a sub pillar, I would say, from fantasy. So definitely fantasy. And romance, which of course I make a lot of romance content on my channel. I talk a lot about fantasy romance, but also historical romance, Regency romance. You know, I love making trope videos for you guys and recommendations for tropes. So I think establish your 3 core content pillars in terms of what are you going to be making videos on. And you can't just say books for this. BookTube has grown so much over the past few years where liking books and talking about books is no longer really enough. You have to have something unique about your channel. Like, what are you doing differently from the next person? And I think having 3 core pillars is an easy way to establish that. Now, this is something that is a bit of a lifesaver when it comes to making content that you are sure will get clicks. So because I am not a full-time YouTuber, I have a very busy full-time job. I know that when I am filming and making a YouTube video, it needs to be representative of the time spent in terms of how successful it becomes. And obviously I do make videos just because I enjoy making them, and that's enough. But equally, you want to make sure that your time is well spent. So when I have a moment where maybe my channel is going through a dip, or, you know, I've kind of pushed out a lot of like experimental videos and maybe they've not found the audience, I recycle old videos that have done really well for my channel. So I update them. That is exactly what this video is. So when it came to planning this video and what I would film this weekend, I knew that my How to Start a BookTube channel is getting a lot of new views on it. It's getting a lot of fresh viewers. It's always been one of my top performing videos, but actually a lot of people seem to be searching about how to start a YouTube channel. And I was like, well, why don't I just update that video? Because I have so much more to say now. Like, there's so many different things about YouTube that I can offer now, and new tips that I didn't have in that video. So don't be afraid to recycle your content, but update it. So if you had a book recommendations video that did super well for your channel, can you read and find new books in that genre that you can update that video with? I think always give people something new. Like, don't just repeat what you were saying a year ago or whatever. Give people new takeaways, but do a sequel, move it on. That is so important, and I think does really help, because the people who came to your channel for that video, you're appealing directly to them and you're giving them new content, you're giving them something updated on a video that they've already like seen and loved. So that's so important. And I think when you're in doubt of like, what do I film? Like, oh, I don't know, like nothing's getting clicks, nothing's getting views. Just have a look at the content that has done well for you and see if you can do a spin-off on that. See if you can riff those videos, update them, present them as something new, and hopefully they will still find their audience. So that is a key tip from me. So my next tip is around reading vlogs. Oh, reading vlogs. I love making them. I love any kind of lifestyle content. They do not get views as much as other videos, and when you're only making one video a week, you need to make each video count. So I've taken a little bit of a step back from filming as many reading vlogs as I did, because I just don't think that they, as I was filming them, they were not reaching my viewers. So how can you make reading vlogs stand out on YouTube? And I think I've kind of cracked the code here. It is basically to make them themed and also give key takeaways in the video. So I think in a reading vlog, you want to show people either you reading a very popular book that you're trying to see, like you're trying to experiment, is it worth the hype? You're trying to give recommendations or read books that people haven't heard of, or people just like seeing reactions to things. If it's kind of like quite, you know, popular book that people like really want people's opinions on, that's also quite fun. But the important thing here is like, what is the takeaway from that vlog? What are people hoping to get out of that vlog? Is it, you know, your kind of reaction to something that will be quite funny or quite like shocking or something like that? Or is it kind of, here's all these books you've never heard of, here's me recommending these books and doing the work so you don't have to. Those videos always go down super, super well, like reading this book so you don't have to, you know? You can kind of riff off other popular creators where you're seeing their reading vlogs doing super well and you're like, okay, how can I adapt that strategy, make it work for my content pillars, and hopefully you'll have a successful reading vlog. I am still experimenting with this. Like, my reading vlogs don't get as many views as my other videos, like my recommendations, they just don't. So this is a chance to experiment, and I think this is the way to do it. No longer am I going to make kind of like weekly reading vlogs where there's just no structure to them. There's no takeaways, you know, that's not offering you guys, my viewers, anything new or exciting. So hopefully you will enjoy my reading vlogs going forward. Hopefully there'll be a lot of books that you've never heard of that you are intrigued by and you've not read yet, and I can kind of do that hard work for you and tell you if you'll enjoy it or not. And my final tip is to be consistent, but change things up when they're not working. So this has kind of been covered in earlier tips a little bit, but consistency is key with YouTube. You've just got to keep grinding. You've just got to keep going. I think like the first year will make or break you in terms of like whether or not you let your success or lack of it affect your consistency and like you just doing it for the fun of it. So I think that's a key thing. Just keep going, like have fun with it. And another key thing is to switch it up when it's not working. So what I mean by this is, if you're still kind of like growing your channel, you've got an incredible opportunity here because you don't have as many eyes on that video, your channel, whatever. So this is your opportunity to experiment and do things and create things that, you know, you're just trying to see if it lands, if it finds an audience. So if you've made one video and it doesn't work, can you be really creative and just think of something completely outside the box? I think that's an excellent way to experiment and see if if one of those experimental videos just completely takes off. Because when you are growing your channel, you need to take risks. You need to be producing content that is a bit out there and like maybe like people haven't seen before. So I think really use your creativity here, really think outside the box in terms of like, okay, so I've created these videos that are quite normal on BookTube, you know, everyone makes them, but how can I do something that will really show off my creativity and something new and exciting that BookTube hasn't seen yet? You know, that might be a really key opportunity for you to really make your mark. But I think doing something differently, taking risks, if something's not working, changing it up, and I think that will help you so much. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video and that it kind of offered you some new tips if you're already a fan of my original video. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and also for watching that video, for trusting my guidance and advice. It means the world to me that you kind of would watch that video, and so many of you said it's been helpful to you, and that's all I want. Like, I just want to help you guys be as successful as possible on BookTube, because I think there is more than enough for everyone, and I think everyone deserves to find their community here. That's like the most important bit. So that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, guys, click that subscribe button, help me out as a creator, and don't forget to follow me on social media. On TikTok, Instagram, I am at BookBellReads, and I post a lot of bookish things on there, so it's like an extension of this channel. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you very soon in my next video, guys. Bye.